I sound like a gear snob, but I'm not a gear snob, Alex.
Okay. In the last video, I told you guys that I quit my job, moved to Texas, and I have to buy all new gear. So in this video, I'm telling you guys which gear I had to buy to continue to create incredible content for YouTube and client work. And we got to hang out with Stefan Lewis in Salt Lake City, Utah, so we're gonna go hang out with him in a little bit. Now the craziest thing about this is that I have been a professional videographer for 9 years and never had to purchase a single camera, so the stakes are high, and that's why I'm telling you guys all about it. So this is the first camera I've ever had to buy. Say cheese. Now before we go hang out with Stefan, I'm going to talk you guys through some of the first and essential purchases that I felt I need to make, and then we'll get into the camera gear that I felt was best for me, because it is a little bit different than the gear that he chose to go with. So for me, the first thing that I felt I needed to buy to continue to create incredible videos was a computer. I use Final Cut Pro, so it was kind of essential that I stayed on the Apple platform. I went with the MacBook Pro, the 16-inch, because this is going to be my everything computer. I don't have monitors, so I wanted as much real estate as I could possibly get. Now, I did not max it out by any means, because in my experience, any of the M1 chips that Apple produces is quality, and it's very, very fast. I just went with the M1 16-inch Pro chip, and it's been fully sufficient. Some of the software that was essential for me to continue creating the content that I do was Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop. It only cost me $10 bucks a month for the Creative Cloud, just for those two products. Do they have it? Oh my gosh, they don't have it. I bet you he took them all, to be honest. Oh well.
Alex from the Car Creator?
Who this? Who this?
What's up, dude?
This is Stefan Lewis, boys and
Do
girls.
you like baby revs for me?
Oh yeah.
Like there's just no revs, or there's all the revs?
Oh my god! That's real. Woo! Okay, so we're gonna shoot this thing real quick before the sun goes down. Okay, so we have been talking about what gear you guys might need to start a successful content creation, anything. So I've asked Stefan to actually tell you guys what gear he uses, because he's been creating car content for a lot of years.
I've been a Sony fanboy forever, like since I very first started. I shot for a really long time, probably the majority of like my YouTube career, we'll say, on the Sony a7 III. I honestly would not have gotten rid of it if it weren't for the a7S III coming out. They had 4K 60, 4K 120, and the flip out screen was like the biggest thing, because like shooting like vlogs for yourself, you want to be able to see yourself sometimes, so it helps. Go-to lens, 16-35 G Master 2.8. It's the Mac Daddy for just everything.
No big deal. You'll just have to drop like $3 to get that though. Like,
but you don't need it. I sound like a gear snob, but I'm not a gear snob, Alex.
Okay. When I first started though, a7 III with the 16-35, not G Master. It was just the little f4, and it was fine. It was great. And the Sony mic is money, dude.
But I think what's important here is that actually cameras and the quality of cameras these days actually they're all pretty friggin' sufficient. Like
100%.
The A6300, A6500, they're incredible cameras. Crop sensor, but you can get away with a lot of that stuff as long as you have a good lens and you're just creative. So just use the tools you have creatively. So in a second, I'm gonna tell you guys what I use, because I had to buy brand new equipment.
Hey, you're that Alex guy with the VR Fed, right?
Yeah, oh sure, eh?
Okay.
All right, you get out of here, eh?
Enjoy the hockey game. My Canadian's so bad.
And the camera that I chose to go with in 2022 is the Canon R6. Now the reason that I went with the R6 is because I was kind of on a budget. I would have loved to get the R5 or the R5C. The beauty of the Canon R6 though is that it shoots 10-bit video. So it does shoot 120 frames per second in HD, which is less than ideal. Of course, I'd love to get 120 frames per second, but I don't use it a ton. I use 60 frames per second in 4K. I get 10-bit color, which is a lot better than kind of the 8-bit color that you'd get out of the Sony a7 III, for example. It is a full frame camera, which means that I'm getting that beautiful bokeh out of a lens. I can shoot YouTube videos. It's got the flip out screen, as well as keep up in a professional setting. When it comes to lenses, I wanted to get something like a 35, but I also need to continue making vlog style content for YouTube. So I ended up going with the 16 to 35 f2.8 version 2, and it's the EF because it was cheaper for me to get the EF adapter, a used lens, than it was to go with the RF native glass. I was able to get this lens for $1,000, and then I get a 16 mil all the way through a 35 mil at the aperture of 2.8. So there's a lot of value built into a used lens. So that's the route I would suggest to go if you're on a budget starting a YouTube channel. Look for the older stuff. It's still incredible. Additionally, I have done some work with Viltrox and their 85 mil lens. Now this is a great lens. It's RF native and a 1.8 aperture, and it's worked great for me. It's not a great video lens as it still kind of hunts quite a bit in video, but for photography and automotive photography, it's a great lens and good build quality. I also picked up a really cheap 50 millimeter f1.4. This is kind of like the mid-range EF 50 millimeter for Canon. So this is just going to be a great prime lens if I need to kind of get some of that low light stuff. I've got an f1.4 in my bag, and the 50 mil is just kind of a clutch focal length anyway. So I've got 16 through the 35 range, a prime 50 and a prime 85 to set me up for success. When it comes to microphones, I chose to go with the Rode Video Mic Go 2. I've had great experiences with all of the Rode products. I'm currently using this mic on this camera, and it's, I don't know, arm's length away, and so this is the kind of quality that you're going to be getting from this microphone. Obviously it'd be great to have a lapel, but at this point in my career I can't afford to be buying all the things. Some of my favorite filters to put on my 16 to 35 and my other lenses as well come from Freewell. They do have this really cool magnetic kind of variable pack that comes with it. You can slap on ND filters. It has a polarizer filter. It has like an ND mist filter in here. This pack is really cool. I did a whole video on it in Hawaii driving Porsches. It's up here. When it comes to professional lighting, I'm very fortunate to be able to use the Aperture 300D with the Light Dome 2. It's an incredibly powerful light. I can highly recommend any of the Aperture lighting products. They're super high quality, and I've used them for the entirety of my videography career. And of course, the last thing that I need when I'm posting for clients and for YouTube, I use Musicbed to license all of the music that I use on this channel. It is the highest quality music you can get, in my opinion, on the internet, and I think when you guys get on the Musicbed and you hear it, I think you'll actually hear the difference. And one of my favorite things about it is they actually put all of their playlists on Spotify, so when you're on the go, you could be listening to your Spotify and be picking music as you go on the fly. But just get on there, listen to their music. It's free to listen, and I honestly just listen to their music all the time because they have all kinds of great curated playlists. My career has changed quite a bit in the last month, and I'm really excited to see how this gear is going to take me to the next level to continue to create content for you guys and for clients. But I hope that this has given you a little bit of insight into the gear that I absolutely needed to buy, in my opinion, and in my price point, to help me to continue to create quality content. Now, if you do have any questions, please leave them down below. I have used tons of cameras in the Sony and Canon space, so I can answer a lot of questions for you guys. So make sure to post those down below in the comments, and I'd love to help you out as you guys kind of begin your journey or are looking to upgrade to the next thing for you as well. Now, if you guys are interested in this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. We focus a lot on automotive photography and videography, but there's a whole lot of stuff in between that you can kind of get out of the educational content, and I love bringing you guys along for the journey. I really appreciate your guys' time watching this. Make sure if you got anything from it, please like the video for me. It helps the channel a ton. I hope you're well, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.